Hello, this is Dr. Rodriguez from Arizona State University, Fulton Schools of Engineering, and today I'm going to be talking about our main system for academic success associated with our Academic Success and Professional Development Program. And the main system that we use for academic success is the Guaranteed 4.0 Learning System, developed by Dr. Donna O. Johnson. We've been using this system now for the better part of a decade, over a decade. All right, and it's just a phenomenal system, and let's just get started right away. Okay, like I said, the main author is Dr. Donna O. Johnson. Her co-author is Y.C. Chen. Okay, Y.C. Chen has a component within the book, which you see in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, and by the way, here is a copy of the book right here. Okay, which you can see. All right, this is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful book, which I recommend to everyone. Within the book, Y.C. Chen has a part of the book that is from a student perspective. Okay, so that's also important. So this is a complete research-based system for learning. It was developed for engineers, but works for any area. The paperback is available on Amazon. You ought to get it. And I feel very strongly about this. Buy 2 copies, one for you and one for a dear friend that you care about. It's a brilliant system with very well written, which is well written, with easy to digest step-by-step examples. It's a must-read, must-study, must-live. It's a system that you should use regularly. And this summary that I'm provided here is not intended as a replacement. It is intended to serve as an overview, an introduction. All right? Please remember the following. Anything worthwhile takes work. This system takes work. The system is very worthwhile. Okay? It takes work. This work will save you an immense amount of time. It will allow you to replace traditional, inefficient, ineffective, not very well-planned studying with what we call the 4.0 way, a very efficient, time-saving system that shows you when and how to do things step by step. With its built-in repetition and solid research-based tips, the system will make what you learn stick, and it will empower you to unlock your true potential. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. Stress. We want to begin by saying stress is normal. And stress means anything that distracts from what we need to do. Anything that distracts us from the task at hand. Okay? You also need to know that you're not alone. It is important for you to realize this and really know this. All engineering students stress. And when I say engineering, I'm including computer scientists too. All right? We've always included computer science as part of engineering. Okay. Now, we need to manage the stress. Don't let the stress manage you. Okay? You should have your own stress-relieving or preventing activity. One that you practice, 1 to 2 hours per week. Something that you can think about to relax you. For example, during an exam. Now, what could the stress activity stress relieving or stress preventing activity be? Well, it could be exercise, it could be reading, it could be playing an instrument, it could be listening to music, it could be engaging in sports, shooting hoops, all right? And it should be something that you do on your own, by yourself. Just you, so that you can directly address that stress. Okay? So it's important to have this stress relieving or preventing activity, all right, that you do on a regular basis and that you can think of, in those situations when you feel stressed. And just by thinking about this stress relieving activity, that can help you significantly in dealing with the stress before you. All right, the next topic that we want to address is work. School should be your job. School should be your job. And that is a 40-hour per week activity, roughly, just roughly, 15 hours of class, and then 20 hours of studying, or as I like to put it, 25 hours of 4.0ing, okay, or 25 hours of serious learning using the 4.0 techniques, okay? You should work if and only if you need money for food, shelter, or tuition. And if you must work, please, please, we beg you, try to pick a job that will help you. Help you now, help you in the future. Try to pick a job that doesn't take away too much time from your studying, from your 4.0ing. Okay? Please, that's very, very important. Now, if you must work, and if you have some serious family obligations, if you're a parent of young kids and you need the job to pay the bills, hey, we're certainly very sensitive about that, and we're here for you. Please, you can call me anytime to discuss anything, anything. It'll be my pleasure to speak to you regarding anything. And those of you that are parents that have to work, then it is, for you, it is even much, much more important that you use this guaranteed 4.0 learning system, because it will save you so much time. It can mean all the difference in making your dreams come true. And, giving you time to spend with your kids and your family, etc., and so forth. Okay? So please keep that in mind. All right? Let's keep going. All right. Now, there's 3 key steps to the 4.0 system. 1, go to class. 2, go see your professors at least once per week. 2, do things in order. And by that, what is meant is do what you need to do when you need to do it. That is, stay on plan. Now, what does this mean? Well, let's find out. Let's keep going. So, go to class, folks. It begins by going to class. You paid for it. You need to go there to get critical information, all right? Information that you may not be able to get from the book. You can see what was covered, what nuances were addressed. This is very important. You can see if the professor said, this is likely to be on an exam. Very, very important. Please, go to class. And finally, you should go to class because you're going to learn stuff. All right? If you become the active learners that we want you to be, taking control of your studying, your learning, your career, your lives, then, going to class, it will hurt not to go to class. You will want to go to class. You will understand why it's essential to go to class. It is not just having the attitude, although let me say that in any endeavor, probably attitude is 60%, 70% in any endeavor. And then the rest, the other 40 or 30% is hard work and discipline. Discipline. And that is part of what this 4.0 system tries to get you to do. That has become disciplined. When you go to class, you should practice SLANT. What does SLANT stand for? SLANT stands for sit front and center. We want you to sit in what we call the learning T. The front row, that's the top of the T, and then as you go back in the class, it gets smaller and smaller, okay? Sit in that learning T, all right? Lean forward, okay? Take accurate notes. Nod to show approval or lack of understanding, and track the speaker. Practice slanting, all right? If you are an active learner, you will naturally do these things, okay? Don't sit in the back of the room, unless for some reason you feel very comfortable back there. But in general, I can't see why you would want to sit in the back of the room. I can't see it. You want to be up front. You want to remain alert, focused, attentive, participate, and ask questions. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, I think you will want to be in front to make sure that that instructor sees you, sees that you are participating, sees that you are very much into the lecture, into the material, and into the discussions. Let's keep going. You should go to professor office hours. Make the professor a valuable friend, a resource. Develop this critical life, people collaboration skill. You're going to have to do it. You're going to have to communicate with your fellow engineers and collaborate with them. It is better to start practicing now with your professors. Okay, they have office hours. They're there to answer your questions. All right, it's a critical component of the learning experience. Okay, and it could help with your grade. And yes, I'm here to help you help yourself with your grade. Demonstrate interest in the course, in the subject matter, in everything being discussed, and you will receive interest from the professor. Okay? This is like academic version of Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. Well, show interest, demonstrate interest, and interest will be reciprocated. Okay? Please, this is important. And this goes for any relationship, not just the student-professor relationship. Okay, why should you go see professor? Well, look, even if you know the answer to a question that you were thinking of asking, even if you know the answer, you should still go and ask your question, because it is always good to get a different, perhaps professorial perspective. Usually that professor, in her or his answer, will say something that you didn't think about. It will perhaps stimulate another question that you might want to ask. Again, this is a skill that you need to nurture and develop as soon as possible. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do this for your job in the future, and you should do it, start doing it now. Get used to it, because it's part of what companies are looking for. It's part of what you will need to survive. It's part of what you will need in order to show them that you're a member of the team, you're a good team person, and also it is the first step toward demonstrating leadership. All these things are essential for moving up that ladder of success, getting the promotions, getting the raises, all right? And yes, when the layoffs come, who will they want to keep? They will want to keep those individuals that are team players, that can communicate with the other team members, etc. and so forth. So you need to nurture this skill now. Okay, you go see the professor because you seek mentoring. And mentoring just means that they can advise you on anything. Anything. Together, you two control what you discuss. We've developed a document called the mentor-mentee relationship and topics for mentor-mentee discussions. All right, look at that document. Examine it. It may give you ideas. What are some of the things that you can discuss with the professor? You can discuss all sorts of important stuff. Coursework, lectures, homework, exams, problems that you think are cool, and maybe you want some additional information about. I think the professor would love that. Okay? Professors are human beings. Believe me, they are. Okay? Sometimes they may not seem like they are, but they are. Okay? And if you show interest in one of the cool problems, they will think that that's very cool. They'll want to discuss it with you if you ask questions about it. You can discuss career. You can discuss career steering, shaping projects, which is core to our ASAP program. Okay, you can discuss research opportunities and research projects. You can discuss them being a mentor to you or advisor to you on the Fulton Undergraduate Research Initiative project. Okay, this is an opportunity that pays $1,500 for each project that you engage in. You just have to connect with a professor, and together you write a 2-page proposal, turn in also a page of references, a timeline, a budget. I think you also need to turn in like a 1-page statement of what you want to do in the future. You need a 1-page letter from your professor, and there may be, I think also a 1-page resume. If I did this correctly, it should come to about 8 pages that you need to turn in, and an unofficial transcript. Recommend the Fury highly, highly, highly. It is intended to be a learning experience, and you get paid to work on something that you think is cool, that you want to learn about. All right? And that is an awesome thing to be able to put on your resume. In general, projects are within your control, and you want to put as many project experiences on your resume so that when you get to that career fair moment, you've got something significant to say. You can say, I did this, 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 and these relate to your job postings as follows. And you must give me the job interview and the internship. And I will be a loyal, productive employee for you for the next 20, 30 years. Okay? Something like that. All right, let's keep going. You can talk to the professor about thesis opportunities, about your resume, about the career fair, about internships, You can talk about professional life, what's involved in professional life. Certainly you can talk about graduate school, one of our favorite topics, okay, because we want all of you to go to graduate school, and realistically speaking, we're expecting, at least 50 to 60, maybe higher percent to go on to graduate school directly in engineering, especially with the 4+1 program that ASU offers. That is just exploding. Students are asking about it even before they arrive to ASU. All right. Don't ask the professor for a letter of recommendation till the professor knows you a bit. For example, after taking some exams, after going to office hours several times, after having serious discussions with the professor, letting them know what you want to do in the future. Ideally, starting a project with them, even the beginning of a project, right? These are things that you want to have in place before you ask for that letter, okay? So don't ask for the letter prematurely. You know, I mean, you've known the professor for 2 weeks, you've gone to office hours twice, and you say, please give me a letter, and you haven't taken an exam or anything. That's not cool, not appropriate, all right? If you have any more questions on when to ask for a letter, please come see me. I'll be happy to talk to you about that or any other topic. All right, let's keep going. All right, fundamental to the 4.0 learning system is bullet point reading. What does this refer to? Well, we want you to read ahead before class. We want you to read 1 to 7 days ahead. Now, even a good strategic big picture scan of the material to be covered can give you a huge advantage during a class lecture. It will open up your brain and let more stuff in. I invite you to examine the so-called look-ahead generation concepts within the book Make It Stick, The Science of Successful Learning by Brown, Roediger, McDaniel, a 2014 publication. Looking ahead, for example, reading ahead, problem solving ahead, messing with the material, struggling with the material ahead, can help tremendously when you see the material in class for the first time. Much more will flow into your brain. It will help the material stick. It helps to make it stick. Okay, bullet point reading means that you're summarizing the material as you read. 3 to 5 words per idea, per concept, per definition, per method, per approach. 3 to 5 words is what we might call a brain-friendly chunk or knowledge morsel. Easier to store inside your brain. That's part of what learning involves. It's not enough to just read material and read it over again. But part of what you need to do is you need to summarize that material and try to see the structure associated with the material, how each of the concepts link to one another. You know, what's the fundamental question that's being asked? What are the fundamental concepts? How do they link to each other? And how do they help answer the question that's being asked or the problem that's being addressed? Okay? So this is very, very important. Now, by doing these summaries, bullet point reading, what you are engaging in is what's called elaboration. Okay? And I invite you to see the elaboration or ownership concepts within the book Make It Stick. Elaboration refers to explaining in your own words what you've read. And by doing that, that will give you ownership of or comfort with the material you've just read. So bullet point reading is very important. And if you really do it the way it's supposed to be done, if you actually read ahead and summarize what you've read ahead, it will not just change your life. It will change your life significantly. It will make you a super student. I mean, just bullet point reading by itself will probably get you to 3.0 with nothing else, you know, or with very little else. Yeah, sure, you got to do homework and blah, 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 some other things. You got to take exams, you got to do studying, sure. But just this bullet point reading by itself can change your life tremendously. Let's keep going. Now, as engineers, you're going to see a lot of math stuff, a lot of mathematical equations. How do you bullet point read this stuff? Well, you write down the equation. You define each variable. All right, you list the assumptions very carefully. Right, you try to understand when the assumptions hold, when they fail. By so doing, you understand the limitations of the equation that you're trying to understand. You know, when these assumptions hold, you can use the equation. When this particular assumption breaks down, and here's when it breaks down, how it breaks down, then the equation no longer holds. And you can ask the professor, well, if this assumption breaks down, then what is the new equation? Is there a new equation? Has anyone derived or figured out a new equation when this assumption breaks down? See, that's a question you can ask to your professor, and that is an excellent question. Not a good question. It is an excellent, excellent question. If you come to the instructor with those types of questions, instructor will love you. All right? And, you know, it's not that I'm trying to get you to, let's see how to say this, suck up to the instructor. No. I'm trying to get you, we're trying to get you to do the right thing. You know, if you're trying to start a relationship with someone, what do? Hey, you do your homework, you show them that you're interested, you show interest, and then interest will be reciprocated. That's what we're trying to get you to do. All right, and if we can give you some pointers on how to ask good questions, okay, sure, that will allow you to score points with the professor. But if that's the way you see it, you're missing the main point. The main point here is we are showing you how to ask these intelligent questions, excellent questions, because that's important for you and your brain. That's important for you and your brain in order to get to that next level toward mastery. Mastery is what we seek, folks. Mastery should be the standard. And when I say mastery, please don't take it to an excess. We're not expecting Nobel laureate mastery. Okay? We'll give you at least a few semesters before we expect that from you. That's a joke. Don't freak out on me, okay? That's a joke. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so the last thing I said was understand those assumptions, because that can give you deep insight into the limitations of the equation. All right. Now there's another concept associated with the 4.0 system, bullet point notes. Bullet point notes refers to summarizing key points in your lecture notes. So you go to class, you take your lecture notes, all right? Then immediately after class, when the material is still fresh in your mind, not during class, after class, that's when you do these bullet point notes, summarizing the key points in your lecture notes. Oh, it should take roughly 5 to 15 minutes per hour of class. Okay, and generally, as a rule, 15 minutes, and maybe even more, to do a good job, to really do a good job. It should only take you 5 minutes if your lecture notes are really clear and it's very, very easy to see how to summarize them, with just a few bullets. All right, and like anything else, this is a skill that you need to start immediately, and you need to nurture, and you need to develop, because, folks, we're going to be listening to lectures and seminars and, talks that our managers give in industry. We're going to be attending professional conferences, et cetera, and so forth. And so we're going to be taking notes our whole life. So learning how to take notes, very important. Learning how to summarize your notes, bullet point notes, also very, 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 very important. It is one of the most important skills that any professional needs to learn how to do. Could you imagine, you're a manager, a vice president, a CEO of your company, for example, that you started. You're going to have to learn all sorts of material, and you're going to be listening to people, and you're going to take notes. Or maybe you're not taking notes, you're storing it in your head, and after you finish the discussion, you go and you write down what you remember, right? This is something that we all need to learn to do and become extremely proficient at. And it's something that we continue developing throughout our life. And just like anything worthwhile, it takes time. All right, let's keep going. When you're going through your lecture notes and you're summarizing, that is, you're making up the bullet point notes, you want to ask yourself things like, what were the main questions? What were the main problems addressed? What was the answer? What was the solution? What was the approach taken or the method taken? What were the key assumptions? When do the assumptions realistically hold? When do they fail? What are the limitations of the theory presented? The approach taken, the method presented, or methods presented. Asking and answering the latter question regarding limitations will give you deep understanding and true mastery of the subject matter. Remember that. When I was in graduate school, one of my advisors, Dr. Michael Athens, at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, he taught me the following in one of his lectures, where this was on control theory. We were learning how to design control systems for airplanes, nuclear reactors, robots, it could be anything. And our control system design was always based on a model that describes the physics of the system. And so he said to us, models have limitations. Stupidity does not. And that was one of the most enlightening things I ever heard in my life. it was obvious that models have limitations. And it was also obvious that stupidity doesn't have limitations. And he went on to say and add, okay, theories have limitations. Simulations have limitations. Hell, everything has limitations. Stupidity doesn't have limitations. Now, another thing about models that I think was useful, that I want to articulate here is this. All models are wrong, but many contain useful information. So, for example, we all learn Ohm's law for a resistor, V equals Ri. But that assumes that the resistor doesn't have any capacitance or inductance. And every resistor has capacitance and inductance. So V equals Ri is just a model. By the way, it's a model that only holds when low frequency currents and voltages are applied to the resistor. Because at low frequencies, the capacitor looks like an open circuit and the inductor looks like a short circuit. All right, this is a little bit too much of electrical engineering. I apologize. Okay, but we also learned Hooke's law. Force equals Kx, where x is the elongation of the spring and K is a spring constant. Again, this is an ideal law. Great inside the book, but it doesn't capture the realistic fact that spring has mass. Spring has damping. By the way, these are mechanical analogs of capacitance and inductance. So again, models have limitations. Stupidity does not. Right? So remember that because it's by understanding these limitations that you can really move toward what we call true mastery. All right, let's keep going. All right, homework. Homework certainly is one of the most important pillars of learning. You got to do your homework, okay? And we want you to start your homework immediately, the day it's assigned. Even a strategic, big picture read-over of the homework assignment can help you tremendously. That is, prepare you for what lies ahead. Doing this is just practicing the so-called look-ahead generation concepts in the book Make It Stick. By just reading the homework assignment and giving it a big picture scan, sort of understanding what are the fundamental questions. And you put that in your head, and then you walk away. Your brain is an amazing machine. It's going to be working on the homework. Okay? Now, we'd really like you to get started right away. Literally, dive into the problem solving. And if you get stuck on a problem, right, move on after 20 minutes. Not because we want you to give up. No. Because we understand how the brain works. Walking away from a problem to do something else just allows your brain to sort of relax and continue working on that problem even though you're not even aware of it. You know, you might go away, take a nap. You might go away and sleep for the night. And then you wake up and you get out of bed and boom, the solution is right there waiting for you in your brain solution queue. How many times has that happened to you? It's happened to me countless times. Countless times. You know, so this walking away is part of my learning arsenal of tools. It's one of my weapons. It's one of my key ingredients for learning. Managing that walking away is very, very important. Now, hey, I don't want you to walk away for 3 weeks. Don't take this as a mechanism for getting lazy or no. This has got to be done properly. All right? In the book, Make It Stick, part of what the authors get across is the idea, one of the critical things to learning is spaced practice, spaced quizzing, and spaced information retrieval from your brain. And even so, walking away and allowing some time to forget is a good thing, because you come back and you want to force yourself to dig in there and get some of those cobwebs out and recreate what you had learned. This exercise of recreating the information is crucial. Crucial to learning, crucial to strengthening those neural connections, crucial to moving material from short-term memory toward long-term memory. So please, remember all these things, okay? And when you get stuck on a problem, think about it. You will think about it later. You get help from friends. Ask your colleagues in your class, all right? Go to professor office hours, even if you know or think you know the answer, okay? Ask your question to get the professor's insightful professorial perspective. Again, it might trigger some questions that you might want to ask, okay? It can trigger a whole bunch of questions. It could lead to a project, and it could change your life, folks. Just a couple of questions can change your life, right? And I believe in this because I know I've experienced it myself, and I've seen hundreds of students experience precisely what it is I'm saying. All right, let's keep going. And I've already said when you walk away, the brain continues to work, and go see the spaced retrieval concepts within the book, Make It Stick. All right. Finally, there's another concept called bullet point concepts. All right? Bullet point concepts are directed to try to understand why. Why was the problem? Why did I get the problem wrong? Why did I answer it incorrectly? Or why did I answer it correctly? Right? So you should be doing bullet point concepts on corrected homeworks that you get back and exams that you get back. For each question, you want to answer, why is this correct? Or why is it incorrect? What are the relevant concepts? So this represents a critical moment in the semester for reflection. You try to read and you try to understand deeply what you know and what you don't know. And you try to relate to what's been covered and what's ahead. You ask yourself, what's been covered? How does the material relate to itself? How does it relate to what I know in other subjects? How does it relate to what I see in the world and my life? And how does it relate to what will be covered in this course, in subsequent lectures? All right? This is very important, these types of questions and this type of thinking. I invite you to see the reflection concepts in the book, Make It Stick. Let's keep going. All right. What do you do with all this bullet pointing that you do? The bullet point reading, okay? The bullet point notes, and finally the bullet point concepts. Well, you put them all into a bullet point notebook. Organize all your bullet points in one notebook. Be very organized. I like to tell students how well you organize impacts how well you think. If your materials are not well organized, then almost always your thought processes are not going to be as well organized as they should be. Okay? If your materials are well organized, then that will allow you to see the structure between this item, the next item, the next item, the next item. It is like this. Think of it like this. By having organization, you will be able to see, this is the tree trunk. These are the branches. These are the leaves. These are the fruit hanging off the tree. Okay? If it's unorganized, you won't be able to see that there's a trunk, that there are branches, that you won't see that it's a tree. That's why organization is it's critically important, because it will allow you to see the connection between the ideas. It will allow you to see the forest rather than, just see, okay, it's a collection of trees, but you miss that it's a forest. All right, I think you get my point. All right, your bullet point notebook, that's something you want to take everywhere. That is something that you want to review repeatedly. Why? Because practice makes perfect. Okay, we've all heard that, and it's been documented in many studies that spaced retrieval, all right? Spaced retrieval, spaced practice is critical, the critical ingredient to learning, and these things are very well described in the book, Make It Stick. All right. You want to continue to improve these notes, bullet point notes. You'll naturally add stuff, for example, examples, etc. You'll gain more insight. You'll see more structure. You'll say, oh, there's a bee nest, associated with hanging from the tree. Okay? Or maybe there is this branch that's falling off the tree. Okay? And you'll see things that you didn't see before. Maybe you'll see there's a few birds in the tree, a few lizards. Maybe there's a monkey in the tree. Now, I'm giving these sort of silly examples, but the whole point is by having this well-organized bullet point notebook, you will be able to see structure. And structure is the key, one of the key ingredients to learning and connecting concepts and ideas. All right. I want to let you know a quote here due to Dr. Donna O. Johnson. She says, and it's very important, stop studying and start learning. And as a matter of fact, she is all for removing the word studying from our vocabulary. When should you study? The answer to that question, the Dr. Donna O. Johnson answer to this question, which we agreed to, hook, line, and sinker, is you should never study. Now, why is that? I mean, that sounds kind of crazy. It's not. The reason it's not crazy is because this. If you're always doing what you should be doing, and when you should be doing it, then you're living what I call a 4.0 centric life. A 4.0 centric life means you're always continuously learning, that you're always doing what you're supposed to be doing and when you're supposed to be doing it. If you do this, there's no need for that traditional, ineffective studying that we always engaged in. If we're doing what we're supposed to be doing and when we're supposed to be doing, we can be much, much more effective. This is the secret to cutting down our studying time. This is the secret to having more free time for doing other cool things, projects, etc., relaxing, enjoying life, looking at the real tree and smelling the real trees and the birds and whatevers, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Okay. Let's keep going. So now, the entire 4.0 process or plan is summarized by this sequence of bullets on the slide. All right? Bullet point reading, going to class, bullet point notes, homework, professor office hours, bullet point concepts after receiving exams and homework. All right? The bullet point notebook that contains all of these bullet point notes in, and it's organized, and we put everything in there. All right? And then we, of course, we practice exams and quizzes. All right? And then we engage in quizzing group fist fighting or sparring. All right, take this the right way. We just want you to seriously engage in these quizzing groups, not study groups, quizzing groups. And then we have more bullet point concepts, looking over exams. And then it goes back to the bullet point notebook again. And you just keep improving and improving and improving this stuff. All right. Central to the 4.0 system is time management. Folks, there's 168 hours in a week. Okay? And if you look at this, this wonderful 4.0 book inside, you'll see that, you know, many people will need 190-something hours in order to do all the stuff that they want to do. But the bottom line is they are not doing things efficiently, not doing things effectively. All right? If you use the 4.0 concepts that we've outlined here, all right, then you'll have roughly 15 hours of class and then 25 hours of studying, quote-unquote studying, or as I like to say, 4.0ing. Okay? Follow the 4.0 learning system and you'll significantly reduce that study time. You'll be much, much more effective. Okay, now, becoming a 4.0 master, just like anything else, just like a Jedi Knight from Star Wars, takes time. Takes time and lots of practice. All right, so it's like hitting a baseball. We don't just hit a baseball. We just don't become Ted Williams overnight or anyone else, you know, overnight. It takes time. Okay, so mastering the 4.0 system, truly mastering, takes time. Please, you cannot try it for a few weeks, say, oh, this is difficult, and then give up. That's crazy. That is insane. You know, that's like opening up a biology book, you know, reading it for a few days and saying, oh, this is too difficult. I therefore don't want to become a surgeon. I mean, that really is crazy. All right. Follow the 4.0 system, folks. You'll have time for many other things, including sleep. And Dr. Donna O. Johnson insists upon 8 hours sleep per night, and that is usually one of the hardest things to do in the system, okay? Because it takes practice doing all these things. We're human beings, folks. I understand. You get out of a lecture, and you may want to go get that Starbucks coffee, and you may feel tired because you didn't sleep the 8 hours last night, and you might not want to do the bullet point notes right away. Folks, don't let your mind, your brain, or your body control you. It's like exercise. When you start doing exercise, the body is telling you, stop it, I don't like it. Now, we know that the exercise is good for you. All right. Go get the cup of coffee if that's what you need. All right, but don't get into bad habits. All right, please. All right. Go do the bullet point notes right after class. Discipline. Train yourself. All right, let's keep going. Now, how do you know that you're staying on plan? Well, we have here 7, or as I like to call them, the magnificent 7 questions. Okay, just like there was a movie called The Magnificent Seven. Well, here we have the Magnificent 7 questions. Did I bullet point read at least 1 to 7 days before class or not? Did I go to class and arrive 5 minutes early or not? Did I bullet point notes immediately after each class or not? Did I start my homework the day it was assigned or not? Did I visit professor office hours this week for every class or not? Did I bullet point concept my return homework and exams or not? Did I take my bullet point notebook everywhere with me or not? Am I on plan or not? These are the questions. All right? As I said earlier, this is a must-read, must-study, must-live, use regularly system. The paperback is available online, on Amazon. Okay, it's very inexpensive. It is an amazing book. Live it, and you will forego the traditional, ineffective studying. It will change your life. Not, I think it will change your life. I know it will change your life because I've seen it change the life of many. You just got to put in the effort. Okay? All right. And you may even sleep 8 hours per night. All right. Now, here's an assignment on the Guaranteed 4.0 system. All right, you can read it. I'm not going to go through each of the steps, but we want you to turn in official class schedule, your time management schedule, your time estimate chart, your professor office hour discussion or summary. All right, and we want you to answer the 7 questions. And we typically want you to do this 2 weeks after you've seen and digested this presentation. All right, look over this slide. Now, there's more we want to share with you. We've given you a time management template, which will help you put together your time management schedule, which is your success plan. This schedule should be thought of as your success plan. All right, now this schedule, something that you try to follow every day. You wake up, you look at the schedule, you see what's on the schedule. You may have to reprioritize because things come up. You know, if you're thinking, oh, this, you know, putting this schedule together is just an academic exercise, it's not useful because the schedule changes every day, then you've missed the most important point, which is this schedule is your target. This is what you're supposed to try to do. But yes, things come up, and you may have to change certain things. But folks, try to follow the schedule. Try to become disciplined 4.0ers. Okay? Disciplined followers of the 4.0 system, and that is the secret toward approaching that 4.0 GPA target. All right. There's also an estimate for time estimate. Okay, you know, how many hours do you spend on eating? Okay, you know, if you were spending 20 hours on eating, well, maybe you should spend 8 hours on eating. All right, how much are you spending on work outside the classroom, time on errands, on church, etc. Everything is in here, folks. Okay, all right, that's one of your assignments. You're supposed to think of everything, including socializing and hygiene, personal hygiene and errands and traveling. And this is wonderful. And this is not just an academic exercise. It is an academic exercise. It will get you thinking about all the things that you need to do. And if you embrace it the right way, then you will think properly about these things, and then you will have an aha moment about the Guaranteed 4.0 system, and you will see what I saw the first time I saw the system. I thought, my goodness, everyone should be exposed to the system, not just in engineering. Everyone. If you're studying, if you're an English major, you should see this system. You know, any major, anthropology, chemistry, physics, technical, non-technical, social science, you know, hard sciences, whatever, math, anything, you should be exposed to this system because this system can make you a much more effective learner. All right, let's keep going. We also have a professor office hour template for you to fill in. All right, we have a sample assignment from one of our students. When I saw the assignment, I thought it was so beautiful that I wanted to hang it up. Just look at it. Okay, but it's useful for you to look at and examine. Right? Here's the second part of what they turned in on a couple of slides. Oh, and a third slide of their assignment. And then we have a second sample assignment. Here is one slide with the first part of their assignment, and then a second portion of their assignment. And folks, that's it. That's all we have to say for the Guaranteed 4.0 system. It is an amazing system. Go get the book and live it. And let's have a wonderful year, perhaps our best year ever. That's all we got to say for today. Thank you.